tired of feeling this way about every Capcom release. Like getting the hate that I get, being called a paid shill, being like just having to read the same comments over and over again. Microtransactions, I'm not going to buy it. Nobody gives a fuck if you don't buy this game. Nobody gave a fuck if you didn't buy RE4 Remake. Nobody gave a fuck that you didn't buy RE7. Nobody gave a fuck that you didn't buy Street Fighter 6. Nobody gives a fuck what you do with your money. In fact, that's the best thing that you can do, is just not buy it. But you probably bought it anyway because you lie to yourself. Hater. Hater. RE4 Remake had microtransactions. It has the exclusive upgrade of feeling this way.
As a man, I understand full well the masculine urge to defend your favorite video game company. Susie Hunter is being paid by Capcom to shill their products, and he's not happy that you are calling him out on it. Just unbelievable. It's crazy how rapidly the Susie Hunter grift is declining because, everybody knows what's going on. Everyone knows that a lot of these high profile YouTubers are being paid to promote these games. Everyone knows that these people are being paid and that it's a contract and that no matter how bad and these games get, that these people will always come out in full force and shill for them. I got word today, and I don't know if this is true or not, that Maximilian Dude actually worked on the Invincible fighting game, which he conveniently did not disclose in that video I watched of him covering it. You know what I mean? That's the problem that we're seeing here now, is that the YouTube community has become a giant circle jerk of paid shills promoting these awful remakes, sequels, and new IPs. Okay, because it's been like this with Capcom in particular for a long time, where you have people like Susie Hunter who have become notorious for actively having cameos in these games, for actively promoting these games, for being a major part of the marketing for these games. I imagine he's the reason Capcom's getting all their DEI money right now. You have this individual that has become notorious for cocksocking Capcom no matter what happens. And of course people aren't going to like it. Of course people aren't going to see through it. And because, Susie Hunter is a man, he feels the need to defend his livelihood and defend his ability to succeed in this industry. Completely unwilling to appreciate how the audience feels about this. Unable to come to terms with the fact that he's being intentionally misleading about his coverage of these games, how he's always giving them glowing reviews, how he's always saying that they're fantastic, and how they're always just how criticism of these games are just brushed under the rug in order to create the illusion that these games are that they're great, that they're perfect, that the remakes are better than the originals. It's people like Susie Hunter who have been actively on the front lines of pretending that Capcom can do no wrong. Okay, pretending that Capcom is in the next level of Street Fighter, pretending that Capcom has grown or evolved and that they're in a golden age period. They're not. Because of people like Susie Hunter, because of these viral marketers, because of these grifters, because of these paid shills, we have this weird illusion of this surface level, just everything is hunky dory. Everyone's happy with everything Capcom is doing. Everyone's happy with the current state of gaming. Everyone's happy with Capcom, that they're the best third party in the industry right now. Okay, we've been told that for years. We were told full stop, no questions about it, that that Capcom had recovered from their weird weird dark age period in the 2010s, and that they recovered in a big way, specifically because of the Resident Evil remakes and because of Street Fighter. Okay, and Susie Hunter has actively been attempting to like promote that narrative and go to great lengths to like go to bat to Capcom for his own financial gain. It's not because he's a fan. It's not because he's genuinely passionate about this stuff. It's not because he genuinely thinks this is like the greatest thing ever and that he genuinely enjoys. Like, it's entirely a grift to make money. And that's what people like don't like about it. That's why people are calling you a paid shill, because you are. And instead of accepting that like you're not really a fan, and accepting that like you're basically just another game journalist, you get upset and angry, very hostile, very aggressive, very towards people that like are calling you out on this topic. Like, you can't handle the fact that people are accusing you of things that you absolutely are doing. And I've seen Max Dude do this too. Like, I feel like it's just Capcom must go pretty aggressively on the viral marketing shills, because this is a trend with him as well, where like they'll go to bat for everything Capcom does, like no matter how bad it is, and then just kind of like ignore everything that's like coming from like other developers, and then they get like angry at you for pointing this out, because I saw like a video from Max Dude a while back about how he can't play everything that comes out. Like, bro, you're a full-time streamer. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you're a full-time streamer and you're like playing games 8 hours a day, like what you should be doing is getting through everything like regularly. Like, that should be your job, right? That should be your career. But instead, what ends up happening is that what he would rather do is just like do like some brief coverages of like, upcoming fighting games, glaze it, and like not really give like any in-depth insights. He doesn't really give like any real perspectives on like what some games do better than others. It's just him like glazing stuff. I'm talking about Max Dude here, but like this applies to Susie as well. I was watching like Max Dude cover Invincible versus, and like one of the things he tries to do is like he tries to damage control the story mode, because like it's an hour and a half long and everyone like knows it and everybody had a problem with it. But like the narrative that Max tried to present was that like, oh yeah, it's an hour and a half long, but it's like the most high quality story mode I think I've ever seen. Like he's doing this thing where he's trying to say it's like this phenomenal like bang for your buck like story mode. Like, it's not like long, but it doesn't have like padding, is like the way he tries to sell it to people. But I'm just like, when has like any fighting game story mode had like this extensive amount of padding? Okay, like when you play something like Street Fighter 6, like what you get is just like, this really large, like extensive single player mode. That has a lot of like, you get to interact with all the characters, and it's like, I think they keep like patching in new content. I haven't spent a lot of time with story mode, so excuse me if I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's like, the story mode of Street Fighter 6, like it's like objectively better than like anything Invincible could possibly do. But that's not something that like Max Dude wants to admit, because of course he worked on Invincible versus. So of course he has to do this thing where he tries to glaze it and he tries to damage control it. And like you start noticing these patterns where like mediocre games are glazed while the far superior entries are like ignored. Like, you're gonna see a lot of this. Like, when as far as Max Dude is concerned, like eventually we're gonna get an arm. We are gonna get an Arms 2, and we are gonna see like Max Dude like damage control it. Okay, we're gonna see like more games coming out of Nintendo. Susie Hunter is gonna like turn around and like shill for Capcom instead, even if they're not doing anything that year. Like, we're seeing these people rally behind um like Pragmata or like the Resident Evil remakes, and like they're just nowhere near as good as what Nintendo is doing. Like, okay, so these guys will try and tell you that like the Resident Evil remakes are the best remakes ever made, and that they're phenomenal, and that they nothing can come close to them. Will they ever give the same amount of attention or praise to something like the Star Fox remake? Because like the Star Fox remake, I think, has potential to be like bigger than any of the Resident Evil remakes. And it's one of those things where like it feels like you would never ever see these people like acknowledge that or even bring up the possibility that like a Nintendo remake could be on par with the Capcom Resident Evil remakes. And it's something that we do have to call out and something that we do have to address. Like if you're glazing the same company over and over again and you keep getting invited to their sponsored events and you're getting early access to their games, like maybe we have a right to be skeptical of your coverage of them. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of my mentality, like looking at these people, like at this stage, is that like I'm just so tired of seeing them like try to justify like their streaming habits. I'm tired of seeing them try to justify their hot takes because primarily their motivations are financial in nature. Like primarily they want to keep like their relationships with the company good. They want to keep like, making money off of them. They want to keep getting paid to just say that like Pragmata is based and wholesome or whatever. Like they want to keep doing the same thing they've always had, and like I think they're finding increasingly that more and more of their audience are like pointing out things that are pretty clear to any of us who have been like paying attention for any length of time, right? Like nothing that anybody said about Susie Hunter has ever been wrong. Like at its core, like he is a paid shill. He is someone that had no business promoting Capcom games, right? He is someone with like this sordid past that like should have blacklisted listed him from the entire industry. And the fact that he gets uppity and upset about people bringing this up, it speaks volumes. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We do have to consider boycotting Capcom products until like Susie Hunter has been kicked to the curb. Honestly, like I don't intend on buying like any further Capcom products until we start seeing like some real changes in how they market their games, who they work with, how they handle their productions. Right. The simple fact of the matter is like Capcom is not as good as a company as people hype them up to be. And if we're gonna see them like make improvements and make better games, like they're gonna have to get rid of people like Susie Hunter. They're gonna have to stop working with people like Max Dude because these people are an absolute problem in this community.